Guys, it's me. And today I wanted to talk about. I've made reference to this in the community tab before, and it's the will to power. Now if you guys don't know, the will to power is a concept by Friedrich Nietzsche that basically boils down to a person's ability to overcome their self and become better and like brace hardship and yeah um I mean as with all philosophies, all ideologies, I think it's cope. But I think it's one of the really good copes, like a cope that can actually um help you get through life and um not oof yourself. And really, its main mechanism is an overwhelming affirmation of your life, what it is, just for the good and bad, where you just, regardless of however you feel, you keep going. Um, and you strive again to become better. And he calls it amor fati, the love of fate in Latin, or a love of destiny. Um, and yeah, dude, what can I say? A lot of people have said that I have the will to power, and maybe I have what he calls some quanta, a, a, a unit, a specific quantity of the will to power. Because it's funny, I won't talk about this here, um, but Nietzsche actually, in if you read the actual modern versions of the book The Will to Power, and by the way, all of this is based off the, I believe, 1968 Walter Kaufman um edition of the text. It's getting harder and harder to find, but I'll leave it in the description. I think also the more recent 2020 or 2021 translation by Penguin in the Penguin Classics line uses the same numbering of aphorisms, because the numbering is different among editions. Some of them don't include all of them and stuff like that, but those two I know for sure have the same aphorism numberings and the same um whatchamacallit, the same content. Um so you're getting almost his full journals, his full aphorisms in those. Anyway, but yeah, bro, I wouldn't say I have the will to power, because I'm exactly what Nietzsche opposed, which is a nihilist. Like, I believe in peace. I'm not a warrior. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm tired of fighting. I mean, I guess you could say I have the will to power insofar as I believe that, at least in some vague sense, in some as of yet unknown to me sense, I have the will to keep going with a disability and stuff like that, but I just dislike that, because the underlying assumption is that, a life with a disability is not worth living, which is not true. We're just as varied in our feelings on life. Like, disabled people are not a monolith. I happen to have a very negative view on life, a nihilistic view on life, which Nietzsche opposes, but that doesn't mean that that's the only view that disabled people have. I admire disabled people are who have more of the will to power, more of the will to overcome, and not just do the basic minimum in their life, but that want to be great. And again, the people that tell me that, all I have to say to them is that you thinking that I have the will to power is offensive to the people that actually do and live it every day. Or to speak in the language of Nietzsche, saying that I have the will to power is offensive to my masters, those above me, those who rule me, and those whose spirits are stronger. And just to get this out of the way too, people think that with Nietzsche it's a racial thing, but it's not. You can be of any race and have the will to power and be part of the master class, the ruling class of people. You can be disabled, and there are so, like I said, there are so many people that I can think of that are so much more stronger, and who, at least in a Nietzschean sense, even though I don't always agree with his philosophy, I consider my masters, and I'm their servant, and I'm their servant, right? And that's another aspect. People think that Nietzsche is against, he calls those people that are servants the herd. He's not against the herd. If you actually read, again, The Will to Power, you see that he believes in a sort of hierarchy of herds in which, certain people, based on the amount of will to power that they have within themselves, lead certain other groups of people, and that these people should adopt the herd morality only insofar as they think they're better than the rest, than the herd itself. And so, it kind of reminds me of, I'm gonna go to the Bible. You guys know Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. When the children of Israel were out in the wilderness, and obviously everyone came to Moses to resolve legal disputes from the Torah, and eventually it became to be too much, because there were what does the book of Numbers say? And I know the book of Numbers isn't historically accurate, but I'm just going off of the story, 600,000, 700,000 Israelites, and so obviously one guy can't resolve all of the disputes. So Jethro comes to him, and he's like, hey bro, what you're doing, it's affecting the way you judge, and no one can possibly do this or judge amongst that specific or that amount of people for so long. So what you need to do is appoint independent judges over a certain group of people, groups of 10,000, groups of 1,000, groups of hundreds, groups of 10. And that's how I see the whole will to power hierarchy. And in that sense, I'm glad to say, because I've talked about it before, that I do have, I think, people that consider me either, again, to use another phrase that Nietzsche uses, inter pares, among their equals, right? Or primos inter pares, the first among equals, um, which, I'm proud of that. Like I said, that even if, they still do what society does and exclude me from basically seeing them, they have a very deep respect for me and what I am and what I do and the sorts of knowledge that I have. And you know so even if you, at least again from a Nietzschean perspective, don't really fit into what he would consider like the ubermensch, the superman, and no one really does, right? You still probably, if you've overcome something in life like a disability, or refuse to have people tell you that your existence is not worth it because of it, you probably still have your own little herd which respects you and controls you, or you control them. Anyway, yeah, those are just my thoughts on the will to power. Thank you very much. Bye.